After graduating from college, I started a small company. Because things moved too quickly, I was unprepared for the scale of the industry. I ended up going bankrupt, unable to cope with management expenses. Even after liquidating my assets, I still owed a large sum. However, what prompted the creditors to be so aggressive? Soon after the collapse, my debt was bought out by the GU Group. I was offered a deal. The debt would be canceled if I worked as a housekeeper for 3 years. At first, I thought I had met noble saviors, but the reality turned out to be more complicated. I am the only man living in this villa, where I am destined to spend 3 years. My job is not only to clean every day, but also to take care of 3 ladies. However, when after 3 years I finally got tired of being at my beck and call, all 3 girls realized what they were missing out on. There are 7 days left until the contract ends. I approach the door to Gu Ran's room. Before I can knock, the door opens from the inside. A cold face looks at me. The woman in front of me is named Gu Ran. She's the eldest of the 3 girls and perhaps the most mischievous. She has a cool, beautiful face, tousled bangs, and a bright shirt that accentuates her figure. I open my mouth. Miss Gu, is the food ready? It's a bit late. My friend will be here soon. Come in and help me get ready. Unlike the others, Gu Ran is very brave. Her image is usually associated with strength, but in everyday life she constantly requires my help. I obediently answer, okay. I followed her into the room. In this room, I became indispensable to Gu Ran. Her cold disposition and martial arts skills were no help in the daily grind, so she had come to rely on me. Despite her status as the corporation's heir, she was helpless in everyday life without my support. She didn't care whether I was a man or not, so I planned her day and handled everything. At first, I resisted, but over time, I got used to it. I went from a green youth to a man who learned to anticipate her every desire. Seeing Gu Ran getting ready for the meeting, I asked, "Can I help you with your makeup?" She raised her hand, interrupting me. "No need, it's too long. Let's just finish early." "Okay. Miss Gu, we can go." Gu Ran looked impeccable and collected. She turned around to check if everything was ready. Gu Ran paused at the door for a moment. "Even though you are the same boy I raised, remember your place. Until I tell you to, don't dare leave my side." I just nodded silently. My emotions remained with me. Gu Ran confidently headed for the exit. Looking around the laid table, I realized that the hot dishes were getting cold, and I hurried after them. "If we don't make it, you can have lunch later." Gu Ran sighed slightly. We left the house. I followed her, acting as her assistant and confidant. We arrived at the right restaurant. After getting out of the car, I accompanied Gu Ran to the reserved table. A woman in a kippah waved at us. Before we approached, she put her phone away. Her gaze slid appraisingly over Gu Ran's face. "You've improved so much, Sejoran. You've clearly blossomed in the 2 years you've been with the company." After a brief exchange of pleasantries, Gu Ran sat down across from the woman. It was Nanlin, a friend of her mother's who worked in the cosmetics industry and worked closely with Gu's group. It was approaching 4 o'clock and I was hungry, but I waited patiently. Gu Ran turned to Nanlin. "I don't have much time, let's get down to business." Nanlin just laughed, looking at me. "Take your time, dear." She called the waiter over to order wine and began a long conversation. I sat silently nearby, trying not to attract attention. Half an hour later, Gu Ran finally interrupted her. "Mom, it's time to finish. I have things to do." Nanlin continued with a satisfied expression. "Your mother should have told you. You're not a little girl anymore. I want to arrange a meeting for you with the son of someone I know. He's a great guy." "Thank you for your concern, but I have no such plans," Gu Ran replied firmly. Nanlin persisted. "You're too young and don't understand anything about men. You weren't in love in college, so you don't understand your happiness." Gu Ran seemed about to lose her temper from this moralizing about how she needed a man. Gu Ran couldn't take it anymore. She nodded at me, sitting next to her. "Auntie, you don't understand. I have a boyfriend." Nanlin turned her gaze to me. "You're saying this is your current boyfriend?" Nanlin asked in surprise. Gu Ran nodded decisively. Nanlin narrowed her eyes skeptically, not believing a single word. "How is this possible? Your mother assured me yesterday that you have no one." I felt Gu Ran lightly pinch my side, signaling. I smiled. "Hello, Auntie. My name is Chen Bo. I'm Boy Ran." Nanlin frowned. "Isn't this the servant your mother was talking about, the one who looks after the house?" I remained calm, realizing that my role in this game was now being decided. "Ran, it's not serious to use domestic staff for such purposes," Nanlin said indignantly. "Chen Bo has been living in our house for several years now. He is closer to me than anyone else," Gu Ran snapped, "and he is my choice." How can you call him a guy? He's just an ordinary person. Ran, you should look at men of your own class who match your status. Gu Ran began to grow impatient. I didn't expect this woman to be so persistent. She glared at me and Gu Ran, hidden from Nanlin's view, tugged at my arm. Seeing Gu Ran's silence, Nanlin continued to press. Don't lie to Auntie, I only wish you well and won't make a scene until you make a mistake. My eldest son is still interested in you. He asked about our meeting. She turned to me. Young man, I don't mean to belittle you. You've worked in the house and looked after Ran for many years, so it's understandable that you've developed an attachment. But if you've really just started dating, it's best if you break up amicably. I'll arrange everything. Gu Ran's brow furrowed even more. She felt this conversation was taking up too much of my time. I just sighed heavily, realizing where this was going. Auntie, I really am Ran's boyfriend, I said firmly, ignoring her disapproving look. Nanlin's eyes narrowed. Young man, don't force me to speak rudely. You're part of the Gu family staff, and it's in your best interests to remain in your position. Do you even understand the consequences of such stubbornness? I looked straight at her and asked, you still don't believe that I'm Ran's boyfriend? Of course I don't. Nanlin snapped back irritably, you're just a housekeeper, responsible for the household. You're younger than Ran and you act too self-confident. Since you don't believe me, I'll prove it, I said, and without thinking, I took Gu Ran's face in my hands. I kissed her wet, scarlet lips. Pure shock was evident in Nanlin's eyes. Everyone around froze, watching this scene. I slowly pulled away and carefully wiped the lipstick from her lips. Now do you believe that we love each other? Gu Ran, clearly not expecting such force, blushed visibly. But it didn't make much of an impression on me. I was simply fulfilling my role. Seeing Gu Ran's embarrassment, I remained completely calm. Nanlin's face flushed with anger. Don't flatter yourself, boy. To her, you're just a tool for her amusement. When she leaves you, it will only hurt you more. Gu Ran sighed. Auntie Nan, I didn't mean to offend you, but I won't allow outsiders to interfere with my relationship. You're right, he was just my assistant at first, but I'm happy with how he's handling things. I appreciate your concern, but this is my choice. Nanlin was furious. Her head hurt from the realization that Ran actually took service personnel seriously. Nanlin silently grabbed her purse and stood up. After hesitating, she added, Ran, you'll regret this performance. Don't be a child, think about your future. I just chuckled as I watched her leave. When the door closed, I finally exhaled. Gu Ran looked at me. You've become too bold lately. Have you forgotten who you really are and that we're in a crowded place? Sorry, I replied, but I thought it was the quickest and most practical way to stop her questions. She waved her hand. Forget it. From now on, remember your place. Let's go. I'm dying of hunger. Delete the video footage from the restaurant's cameras today, she added more politely, as if giving an order. What happened to that guest? I asked as we headed towards the exit. She pulled a bank card out of her purse. There's 10,000 in here. Pay the staff so the recordings accidentally disappear. Say the surveillance system is broken. Understood? I nodded silently, accepting the card. Business needed to be completed quickly. After I completed her task, she noticeably calmed down. I checked the balance. There was more than 180,000 in the account. She was in a good mood and immediately started calling someone. Congratulations, I met my destiny today, she joked into the phone while I was driving. Madam, are we going home? I asked, still feeling the turmoil inside me from the recent scene. She gave me a reserved look. To the hotel first. I need to eat and discuss something with you. You nodded. We drove up to the Gu Hotel chain, located nearby. Thanks to her status, we were immediately taken to the most luxurious room, and I went in search of food for her. I bought a lot of filling and high-calorie food, then came back and set the table. Gu Ran sat down opposite me. She took a chicken leg and bit into it with pleasure. It's nice when you can just relax and not listen to these boring moralizing lectures. Looking at her, I realized that she was not pretending at all. She really didn't care about the opinions of others. The sight of her eating seemed surreal after everything she had been through. The day is almost over, I thought, watching her eat everything in peace, and then I'll get back to my business. She finished eating, and the atmosphere in the room became tense again. Gu Ran looked at me with slight displeasure. Why are you looking at me like that? You don't dare leave until we finish this conversation, she snapped. I sighed. I had a bad feeling about this. She ate everything I bought: chicken, meat, barbecue, washing it all down with a can of cola. Gu Ran leaned back in her chair with satisfaction. Not bad. Well, shall we talk business now? She rose from the bed, looking lazy but collected. After making a couple of calls, she put the phone down. The light fell on her figure as she said, I said not to be disturbed for the next hour. I'm listening, Miss Gu. What did you want to discuss? I asked, sensing that this conversation would be difficult. She looked at me defiantly, and I realized that this was just the beginning. Wait, I don't want to talk now. Hear me out first, I said, trying to remain calm. I thought Gu Ran was acting strangely. Why would she waste time at the hotel if she didn't have anything important to discuss? About 20 minutes passed. Gu Ran, who was playing with her phone, put it aside and gestured for me to come over. Come here. I approached the bed. What's wrong, Miss Gu? I asked, to which she only smiled mysteriously. She looked at me and quietly said, Is this what you want? Half an hour passed. The sound of the water in the bathroom confused me. She acted like a predator cornered, or conversely, like one who is cornering. I didn't ask for this. She clearly planned it all. After bathing, she came out of the bathroom. She changed her clothes. Despite her calm appearance, excitement was visible in her eyes. Gu Ran lay down on the bed. Hearing my footsteps, she opened her eyes. How many years have passed since your mother signed a contract with you? I hesitated, not expecting such a question. I didn't think she'd remember the details, as I was already mentally preparing for quitting. 3 years, I answered honestly. You've become too bold lately, she looked at me thoughtfully. How much longer is left on the contract? Just 1 week, I replied, fully aware of the date. Gu Ran offered without hesitation. You've been doing great. Let's do this. I'll offer you 10 million a year and we'll sign a 20-year contract. You don't have to worry about work. That's more than you could earn anywhere else. I was taken aback. 20 years is a lifetime of slavery. I'm not chasing money. I firmly shook my head. Miss Gu, I'm sorry, I have to refuse. Her brows narrowed in anger. Refused? What do you mean? She asked again. Simply a refusal. That's my final answer, I repeated firmly. Gu Ran was shocked. I see. So as soon as the contract expires, you plan to leave immediately? You don't care about us? I nodded silently. Her face darkened, anger replacing her previous playfulness. Chen Bo, I won't let you go. You're just stubborn. I'll give you a chance to change your mind if it's just a matter of price. I'm very sorry, Miss Gu, but the decision has been made, I replied. Gu Ran was furious and threw away the food, but quickly pulled herself together. Forget about it. You have time to think. I'll give you a chance. Do you think I can't stay here any longer? Then I'll go to Miss Zionai. I tried to leave, but she stopped me. Wait, she gets angry again. You've become too self-confident lately. I just sighed, not understanding her complaints. She did everything herself and it was my fault. Now that you're finished, I'll go, I said. I warned her I'll go down and buy some food, and quickly headed for the exit. But she called out to me, Do you want to terminate the contract? You irritate me, that's why you're not leaving today. Come here. You're unbearable, I thought. She was obviously doing it on purpose. Gu Ran was aggressive. I had no chance of leaving. If you insist on quitting, then work until the end of this week, she snapped. I was angry. Now I understood. She knew I wanted to leave and decided to turn my last days into torture. I suppressed my anger and approached her again. Understood, I replied coldly. At 8:30 p.m., Gu Ran was lying on her bed, looking contented. She was writing something to her assistant. Miss Gu, I have to go get Miss Zionia, I said, standing by the bed, pale with fatigue. She looked at me. Go, by the way, I canceled my trips for next week. You're coming with me. No, everything inside me broke. This week is my only chance for freedom, and she wants to take even that away. I silently left the room. I walked out the door and sighed heavily. The tasks weren't finished. I needed to find Gu Zioniu. I was used to their whims, but I didn't understand why they were so fixated on me. Zionia and I are the same age, but our lives are like night and day. She's a star. Her career took off after one series. She's the proudest of the sisters. And I, her servant, had to find her. At the moment, Gu Ran was at the hotel, and I was heading to Zionai. I could hear her voice on the phone as she discussed my contract. Gu Ziyang's voice sounded indifferent. Sister, why are you still holding him? I'm not holding him, he's just a burden. She was pleased with my work all these years, but it seemed like I was just a tool to them. The woman, leaning against the wall, ended the conversation. I arrived at the meeting. Gu Ziyang was furious when she heard about my resistance to my sister. A servant who wants to leave, ridiculous. 10 minutes later, I got out of the car and headed towards the building. The lights in the banquet hall were shining. Among the crowd, I finally spotted Gu Ziyang sitting at the counter. I walked up to her. Do you need any help? I asked. None. Just take me home later, she said without even looking at me. I sighed, standing respectfully nearby. Chen Bo, are you a little late? She asked coldly without even turning around. I looked rather shabby. I left the hotel where Gu Ran was staying and came straight to you. Really? Gu Zianya was pleased, but her smile faded when she saw my irritated expression. It seems things haven't been going well for you lately since you were with your sister for so long from 2 in the afternoon until 8 in the evening. You don't have to justify yourself, she continued with a wry smile. You're completely under Gu Ran's control, and after today you've clearly lost interest in work. But know that if this is what my sister needs, I won't interfere. Don't worry about me, do what you think is best. I was speechless, listening to her detached tone. Although Gu Zianya was incredibly beautiful, after each day of filming she was so exhausted that she dreamed only of sleep. I knew I had no prospects, even simple human desires were impossible here. Gu Zianya stood up and gestured for me to come into the room. Come here and fix my makeup. I have to go on stage soon. I began carefully applying makeup, hiding the signs of her fatigue. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. Dong dong dong. Miss Zianya, are you here? Someone's voice broke the silence. Gu Zianya remained unfazed by the insistence behind the door. Hurry up, finish it and go, she said coldly. I continued working, although someone behind the door clearly had no intention of leaving, having been waiting for us for 10 minutes already. The knocking repeated every couple of minutes. It seemed the situation was becoming urgent, but Gu Zianya didn't even move. She just winced. They don't understand anything. I didn't care, but I remembered Gu Ran's anger. I didn't want to irritate her even more if the news got back to her. Forget it, go open the door, I thought. I walked up to the door and, containing my irritation, opened it. A man with a flawless face stood on the threshold. Dressed in a crisp white suit and holding a bouquet of roses, he looked as if he'd been preparing for this moment for ages. He gave me a small smile. Is Miss Zianya here? It was Bai Qi. He walked inside confidently. Gu Zianya, who was about to drink a glass of wine, turned around. It was the same actor she had starred with in the drama. Bai Qi acted as if he was copying her. Gu Zianya tapped her glass, her cold gaze fixed on him. What happened? Bai Qi only smirked. Isn't this the moment of our triumph after filming? I want to celebrate this only with you. He held out a rose. Gu Zianya didn't even glance at it. She continued to swirl the wine, not even intending to put it down. Does this Bai Qi really have no brains? I took the rose from his hands as per Zianyi's order and stepped aside. She didn't say a word, just coldly observing the situation. Bai Qi was embarrassed. Zianya, don't like the red ones. Next time I'll bring the white ones. She remained silent. Her patience snapped. What do you want? I'm busy, she snapped irritably. Bai Qi's expression changed. Nothing special. I just wanted to discuss our plans before the banquet, which starts in half an hour. Gu Zianya understood what he was getting at. Don't waste my time with idle chatter, she snapped, not wanting to listen. Bai Qi plucked up his courage. Zianya, let's star in a new project together. Let's officially announce ourselves as a couple. Gu Zianya turned around, her eyes flashing. What kind of nonsense are you talking about? I'm serious, the drama was a success. It's going to create a huge buzz, he persisted. We will be the perfect on-screen couple, Bai Qi continued to insist. The fans will support us, it's good for your family and your career. He tried to push the practicality. Yi Zianya, I like you. I want to be with you for more than just the fans, he blurted out. Gu Zianya interrupted him. Stop, I hate to hear this, she said, covering her chest with her hand in a gesture of disgust. Bai Qi raised his voice. I'm serious, Zianya, but she only frowned deeper. You were invited to play, not to find a partner. Do you think you're my equal? You're just a rat who thinks he's someone important. Her taunt was cruel. Bai Qi froze in place, unable to utter a word. Since you don't understand human language, leave. Chen Bo, take him out, she ordered. Why are you doing this to me? Bai Qi muttered. I had no choice but to intervene. Mr. Bai, please leave. The lady wants to rest. Don't force me to use force. He ignored me, addressing only her. Why, Zianya, why? I just don't like your voice, it makes me sick, she snapped. Bai Qi was shocked. This is all for the team's success. The task force said they could convince you. Chen Bo, she interrupted. Tell the team to pack up and leave today. Everyone is fired. Both were furious at this decision. I began to recover from the shock, realizing the scale of her anger. The lady was adamant, but Bai Qi still couldn't comprehend his defeat. He couldn't believe she hated him so much. I walked up to him and roughly pushed him toward the exit. Leave Mr. Bai now. He looked into Gu Zianyi's eyes, trying to find even a shred of sympathy there, but to no avail. Why are you dispersing the group? Am I not good enough for you? You look down on me. I understand, he exhaled before walking out. Zianya, don't be like that. I looked at him and thought, you're not so stupid as to think that I wouldn't dare object, are you? Looking at Bai Chi's face, I saw all his ingratitude. Gu Xianya was furious and mocking him. This whole farce was wearing me out. Even if he considered himself a star, his attempts to suck up only made me feel disgusted. If you understand, get out, Gu Xianya snapped, draining her glass of wine in one gulp. The gossip about us was disgusting, and the wine now seemed bitter. I listened silently to her merciless barbs. Bai Chi was stunned. He'd hoped that Xianya, out of concern for the Gu group's image, would at least pretend to consider his proposal, but he was mistaken. He sighed heavily. "Okay," he said, "but the task force had nothing to do with this. They just advised me to talk to you." I nudged him. "Go ahead, Mr. Bai, enough talk." I patted him on the shoulder, and he, finally realizing that there was nothing to be gained here, wandered towards the exit. This is the only way to escape alive, he thought, but then Gu Xianya shouted, "Wait." Bai Chi froze, hoping for a miracle. He turned around and asked, "What happened?" Gu Xianya casually splashed the red wine directly onto the floor in front of her. The rich drink spread across the expensive carpet. "You've angered me, Bai Chi. I can give you a chance to stay, but only if you kneel, wipe this wine off the floor, and crawl out of here like a dog." "Xianya, are you serious?" He was taken aback while she looked at him with undisguised contempt. "You're just a dog who doesn't understand human speech. Don't even dare call me by my name. The sound makes me sick." Her coldness was stunning. "Why are you so cruel?" he whispered. "I drank this wine. Even if it's on the ground, you should be flattered that you can touch it." Her arrogance knew no bounds. Bai Chi was speechless. He'd been told it was impossible to find an argument against Gu Xiangyi, but he didn't understand why. Now he realized it fully, his face twisted in resentment. His heart was broken and his pride was crushed. "I'm sorry, I can't do this," he said, and ran out the door. I was glad that this performance was over, but when I turned to Gu Xiangyi, I saw that she was still beside herself with anger. I was afraid to move, lest her rage spread to me. Her cold-bloodedness and cruelty were frightening. Bai Chi was just a one-hit wonder who got lucky with the leading role. What was he expecting? Gu Xianya unleashed a stream of aggressive questions at me, clearly venting the last of her anger. I returned to her. "Excuse me, miss, perhaps I should take these flowers from you." I looked at the delicate rose in my hand, not understanding why I needed this junk at all. "Throw them away and remind me of the time. It's already 9 o'clock, time to go on stage," she said coldly, still irritated. I felt depressed. Why is she still going on about what just happened? She always had her own particular taste, though. She poured herself some more wine, looking at me. "You look tired. I'll reward you later." "I can't drink anymore," I replied, to which she chuckled. "Who told you to drink?" Gu Xianya took off her shoes, lifted her leg, and looking at me with arrogant triumph, gestured to the floor. I felt completely helpless. This was her reward. I remained silent. It was annoying, but I understood. She was just playing with me, testing my boundaries. Before, she wouldn't even let me touch her, and now I was forced to participate in this game. My hands gently grasped her foot. When I leaned down to touch it, she pulled away. "You really want to lick it, don't you?" she whispered mockingly. "It is a great honor for me to touch your perfect foot, madam," I replied, trying to remain calm. "Are you serious?" "Yes." I said this with a completely faceless expression. Gu Xianya smiled. "You're funny. Go get a towel. You've earned the right to clean me up." I hastened to fulfill her whim, just to finish this humiliating ritual as quickly as possible. "Miss, it's time to go to the gym," I reminded her, wiping her feet. She stood up and walked towards the door. "Everyone is waiting for you," I added, watching her stop at the threshold. "I don't want to go back, so don't rush me. Take me home," she snapped. We got into a luxury car and drove along the night road. In the silence of the car, she suddenly asked, "Chen Bo, is our contract coming to an end?" This question caught me off guard. Gu Xianya remembered everything. Gu Ran must have told her about my refusal. I replied, "Yes, in a week." She frowned. "Why didn't you say anything?" "I didn't think it was important." "When I leave, Mother will find new servants for the villa," I added. She raised her head proudly. "Do you think anyone else can handle this? Are you planning on running away in secret?" Gu Xianya didn't turn around. "I'm not going to hold you back, but you've done well. I'll give you a chance. Stay, and I'll call your mother myself and tell her not to look for anyone, and I'll avenge your family if that's what you want. You have no desire to understand me at all. I'm sorry, Miss Xianya, but I won't stay here any longer." "Really?" Gu Xianya merely shrugged indifferently, looking out the window. "Well, I gave you a chance. You won't regret it later." "I will not regret it," I replied, "and I will make sure that you understand my determination." She frowned but didn't get angry. Chenbo, are you really that eager to leave? If so, you can pack your things tomorrow. No one's holding you back. Miss, don't get so worked up. I'll work honestly for the rest of my days, I replied, realizing that leaving early would mean losing everything. Do you really think you haven't taken good care of me if you want to run away? There are too many people dreaming of taking your place. You've become too self-confident. Miss, I don't think so. Then leave this very evening. Miss, please don't. You're tough, I thought. I needed to hold out until the end to get my pay for these 3 years. It seemed Gu Xianya was up to another game. She suddenly remembered, remember, you came to us 3 years ago when you were trying to capture the market for our products, but my sister seized the initiative and turned you into her toy. Yes, that happened, she smiled. Big sister did everything she could to make you obedient, but you're a celebrity now, you're useful. Why do you want to leave? Her words made my stomach clench. She rarely praised me, and today's tone was extremely suspicious. Of course, Big Sister wants you to stay. I'm simply conveying her wishes. I'm giving you one last chance. Stay, and I'll talk to Mom. If not, go. I remained silent. I'm sorry, madam, I replied, and she became visibly upset. She fell silent, and silence fell over the car. The car stopped abruptly. I went out to open the door for her. Gu Xianya tossed me her bag. She cast a piercing glance at me and entered the house. She seemed deeply hurt by something but tried not to show it. I followed her and we stopped at the entrance. You look so happy to be leaving in a week. Well, since my schedule is open, I wouldn't mind increasing your workload, she muttered. Miss, you misunderstood. I tried to justify myself. I'm doing this for you, Chenbo. I'm giving you one last chance. Go to the living room, she snapped. Where is my sister? She asked. I knew Gu Ran was still at the hotel. She's probably sleeping there, I replied. Go cook me something to eat, I'm hungry. She sat down on the sofa. She crossed her legs and looked at me with an ironic smile. You wanted to rest, didn't you? Refusing me today is your punishment. I didn't understand her anger. When I first arrived, she herself had objected to my presence, and now she was punishing me for wanting to leave. It seemed absurd. Okay, I'm going to the kitchen, I replied, deciding not to argue. She suddenly called my name. I flinched. How should I respond to your whims? I thought, heading to the kitchen, as long as she's happy. Heh, are you getting calculating? Do you want to please me so you can sit out this week and run away? Gu Xianya clearly saw right through me. No one dares to think I'm a fool, she added. Chenbo, first food, then cleaning. Go to the kitchen. I went without saying a word. All I wanted was to spend this week in silence, but every word I said only caused a new wave of anger. I made some simple egg noodles. She was a picky eater and wouldn't eat anything fatty. She ate silently, looking incredibly elegant, not making a sound. When she finished, she wiped her mouth with a napkin. Not bad, she nodded. Thank you, miss. Don't rejoice too soon. She stood up and looked at me with disdain. You won't rest for a day until I allow you to. I remained silent. She started climbing the stairs and I trailed behind. She was bored and clearly waiting for my reaction, but I remained silent, which only angered her. She stopped at the door. I won't stop you if you decide to leave. I'm angry because you overestimated your importance. Madam, I have no such thoughts. Shut up and stop talking nonsense. Come on in and have a drink with me. You look funny drunk. I was puzzled by her behavior. At that moment, the neighboring door opened. Gu Xinyue came out wearing cat pajamas, hugging 2 cats. She looked confused. Sister, what are you doing? She asked. I heard your back, Xinyue added. I'm talking to Uncle Chen, Xianya replied. Go, finish your business and come see me, Xianya told me, closing the door. I just nodded. As I passed by Xinyue, I heard, Miss, what's wrong? Just come with me tomorrow at noon. I had to go to a party at Gu Xingyu's classmates. I nodded in agreement. Gu Xingyu looked at me, slightly taken aback by my submissiveness. She glanced at her sister's door. What had happened to Xianya? Why did she look so upset? I just shook my head, unsure of the answer. Well, let's start by taking care of Xinyu. I'm going to bed. Good night, time to rest, she said, returning to her room and carefully closing the door. I sighed heavily. It felt like I was being constantly tugged. No promised rest. I approached Gu Xinyu's room and knocked. Ms. Xianya, are you here? Yes. Come in. I pushed the door and walked in. She was standing by the balcony, leaning against it, looking at the night sky. She was holding a bottle of red wine. I came closer. Miss, I'm here. Okay, she said quietly. You don't even realize what you're doing. I remained silent, waiting for her reaction. Gu Xianya remained silent for a long time. Finally, she filled the glass. Her gaze grew sharp. What are you waiting for? Pour yourself one. You're so stubborn. Miss, I have to take Xingyu to her classmate's birthday party tomorrow at noon, I tried to remind her. She simply waved my words away. Gu Xianya frowned and pointed at the bottle. Don't you understand? Pour me some wine, got it? Okay. I took the bottle, poured wine into her glass, and stepped aside. Madam, can I go? Don't rush, I haven't let you go yet. Just be patient for a little while, she whispered, as if apologizing. Will this last for long? I thought, but in the silence of the room my voice died away. She continued to swirl her glass thoughtfully. She downed the wine in one gulp. Chenbo, do you think it's too much to leave a banquet without saying goodbye to anyone? You seem suspicious to me. I didn't know why she was so fixated on the banquet, but it was hard to listen to her. Gu Xianya sighed heavily. My mom sent me a message. She's furious that I ran away, she admitted. Her voice grew quieter. I don't care what other people think, but my mother, she doesn't understand. The phone screen on the table continued to glow with new messages. Xianya, what's wrong with you? Everyone's waiting for you in the hall. It's important for the plot, she quoted her mother. She hated these perfect scenarios. Since childhood, Xianyi's life had been planned by her parents, acting classes, roles, projects. She felt like a puppet fulfilling a plan, and now that her goal had been achieved, she saw no point in continuing. She looked at me. So even you think I'm just being capricious? I shook my head no. It was clear how deeply her mother's reproaches hurt her. At 24, she desperately needed simple recognition, not demands. The silence dragged on. I'm just a man, I began seriously, but for a whole year I've seen you work on the site from dawn to dusk. I've seen your work, and if your mother doesn't appreciate it, she's wrong. You don't have to conform to their rules. You're not overdoing it, just be yourself, I added. Her face softened noticeably. She looked out the window, her tone softening. You know, you're the only one who understands this after all these years. She walked over to the table and picked up another glass. She poured wine into my glass. Drink with me. I was surprised but obeyed. Looking at her, I forgot about her usual coldness. For the first time, she laughed so sincerely. Take your glass, thank you, but I'll still punish you tomorrow, she said jokingly. I finished my wine and left the room. The next morning, I finished my morning chores and had breakfast ready by 9 o'clock. A sleepy Gu Xingyu appeared on the stairs, rubbing her eyes. Miss, have some breakfast, I suggested. Okay, thank you. She sat down at the table, still not fully awake. Xingyu was the kindest of them. She asked about my conversation with my sister yesterday. I smiled, trying to hide my awkwardness. It's all right, madam, I reassured her. I already told you, just call me Xingyu, she reminded softly. Okay, Xingyu, she didn't press the question further. After eating, she reminded me of her business, and I went to prepare breakfast for the others. Gu Ran returned late and slept, not wanting to see anyone. I knocked on Xiany's door. Miss, breakfast is ready. She walked out of the room looking a little thoughtful. What did Xingyu say? She asked. I explained that I had to take her to the graduation party and come back. Just drop her off and go about your business, she said. Maybe it's better to stay with her until the end, I thought. Gu Xianya suddenly beamed. Okay, tell her this. If anyone gets insolent, just bring her back. I don't care what they think. Her concern sounded so special. Gu Xianya took a bite of bread and added in a cold tone, just make sure she's safe. If there's a problem you can't solve, call me, and make sure she doesn't drink too much. Understood? She said nothing more. There was a long silence. After finishing her milk, she put the glass down and looked straight at me. Heh, don't expect to just relax. Stay close to Xingyu. If you come back slimmer, don't blame me. I felt the corner of my mouth twitch. What kind of wind is blowing today? I scolded myself. You do understand that you are just a servant, not her loved one. Know your place, her gaze read. She turned coldly and climbed the stairs. Despite this attitude, I continued to do my job. I calmly cleared the table, trying not to think about anything, and went out to the car to wait for Xingyu. Noticing the slight displeasure on Gu Xingyu's face, I moved closer. I stretched, as usual, trying to smooth over the rough edges of her mood. Really, is this all my sister? She asked. She asked you to join me, I nodded. Gu Xingyu took a deep breath. You don't know them, she said. You might be uncomfortable staying there because of their orders. If you don't want to, go hang out somewhere until I'm done, and then I'll call for you to come pick me up. It was clear there was a disagreement between the sisters, but I couldn't disobey Xiany's direct order. It's all right, mistress, don't worry about me. Are you sure about this? She asked. You're even a little cheeky right now, I said, but honestly, I'd rather stay with you. Xingyu raised her eyebrows. Really? Her reaction was unexpected. Why are you so serious? She asked. Because you're different from everyone else, I think you'll understand. She seemed to believe it. Pouting slightly, she grumbled, but you say so. Aren't you afraid I'll tell the sisters? They'll punish you again. I know you're very kind, madam, I replied. She blushed and looked away. Even if I'm kind, I still can't help you. It's okay, Miss Xinyu, your participation alone is enough. Okay, get in the car, it's late. She sat in the back seat, crossing her arms. You're driving. If you need a break, come see me. I'll let you take a break. I glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Was she sincere? Hardly. If she'd really wanted to make my life easier, she would have talked about the contract directly. We arrived at the place. A tall blonde in a white dress was waiting for us. Xinyu was going to go with her. Yes, is something wrong? It was Shen Mengxing, Xingyu's best friend. They were inseparable. Shen Mengxing commented on my appearance, and her praise was suspiciously frequent. Xingyu frowned. It seemed that every time she went out in public, her friend's obsessive interest in me was accompanied. Mengxing started praising me again, calling me a bad boy. Then you can have him, Xingyu snapped. Shen Mengxing looked at her with a challenging look. Can you really do that? Of course, Xingyu replied coldly. Her friend's reaction clearly offended her, and she retreated. Gu Xingyu was clearly agitated. It doesn't matter. Once my sister finishes her business, she'll let him go anyway. Don't you need it? Mengxing asked. No, Xingyu answered firmly. But he loves you. You'll be sad if he leaves. It won't, she snapped without hesitation. Mengxing just smiled. Okay, and what if he wants to leave himself? Don't forget to tell me. Xinyu was disappointed. She'd come to have fun, but the conversation kept circling around me. Then go, I'll be late, Mengxing said, and suddenly turned to me, greeting me enthusiastically. Little servant. Gu Xingyu's heart sank. Why was Mengxing so concerned about the servant? Servant, when will you return? I was embarrassed. I'll wait until Miss Xinyu finishes. Shen Mengxing suggested, let's wait until the party's over. I invited Xinyu again. You'll come with us. Perhaps you should ask the lady about that, I replied. Xinyu walked to the back door angrily. Open it for me. I hastened to fulfill the request. Miss, please. She got into the car, casting a cold glance at me. She was clearly preoccupied with her own thoughts. What did they talk about? What did Shen Mengxing whisper to her? Shen Mengxing walked to the door. Xinyu, can I sit in the front as a navigator? Xinyu frowned but nodded. Go. Mengxing turned to me. Sit down quickly. I want to talk to you. I got behind the wheel, feeling that this trip was going to be quite unpleasant. Gu Xingyu sat in the backseat, clearly displeased about something. He crossed his arms and looked at me with a haughty expression. Shen Mengxing, already buckled up, turned to look at me. Hey baby, have you eaten? I just finished it, she asked. I replied in surprise, hey, why do you think I should have eaten beforehand? There'll be lots of delicious things there. It's a shame you won't be able to try everything, she replied with a smile as I started the car. I waved it off. It's fine. Look, Mengxing, you don't need to worry so much about status or what others think when you're with me and Xingyu. Just eat and enjoy. You're too kind. She thanked me but declined. Okay, then when will you have time to rest? I continued, watching in the mirror as she and Xingyu chatted animatedly. Gu Xingyu seemed to be getting annoyed. She found it strange to see Mengxing interacting so much with me. Chenbo. She called out coldly, Wangxing, what do you want? Maybe you should stop pestering him while he's driving. Shen Mengxing laughed it off innocently. I just want to chat with him, she replied. What is there to talk about? Xingyu snapped. Shen Mengxing was momentarily at a loss. Apparently, she was truly only interested in talking to me. She turned to Gu Xingyu and smiled. Don't be angry, Xingyu. I just wanted to ask you something. What exactly? I want to know how much money Chen Bo still owes. Gu Xingyu frowned slightly. How long will it take your family to pay off the debt? I intervened. Why are you asking? I want to hire her too. Not as a nanny, of course. We have no shortage of people like Shen Mengxing, she said. Mengxing looked thoughtfully at Xingyu, unsure what to do. Can I do it? I asked them both. Gu Xingyu frowned but nodded almost immediately. Okay. Seeing that she didn't mind, I agreed. Shen Mengxing happily took my hand. Agreed, but you'll have to bring my sister. This one, I asked again. Shen Mengxing thought for a moment, glancing at me, the silent driver. It's not urgent. Let's go to the party first, and then we'll decide what to do with my sister. I nodded slightly in response. I noticed that Shen Mengxing, due to some strange mood of hers, remained silent, but continued to think about something. It was like a guessing game. What are your usual chores? What do you need, Xingyu, to make you happy? Yes, a lot of work, she replied. Yes, I'll do whatever Xingyu needs, I promised. We soon arrived at the place and I parked the car. I opened the door for them as I got out, and Shen Mengxing immediately hurried over to Gu Xingyu. She hugged her friend by the shoulders. Yu, how much salary do you pay Chen Bo? I don't know, she muttered. Gu Xingyu clenched her fists, clearly irritated that I, despite being right there, remained indifferent to their conversation. Can you stop talking about his affairs? It's annoying, she snapped. Manxing noticed her dejection. Like a gentle kitten, she tried to calm Xingyu. Sorry, don't be angry. I just wanted to ask about Chen Bo. Maybe when I talk to your sister, they'll agree. How could Chen Bo leave in just 2 days? Whatever you decide, I'll support it. With that, Yoyu is the best sticker. Gu Xingyu couldn't stay angry for long, though her inner irritation at me paying less attention to her than before hadn't gone away. We approached the hotel. It was a friend's birthday party. It was still early, but we approached the reserved room. The door was ajar and there was a noise inside. Someone was playing D&D. The 3 of us entered. The room was huge, but only 5 people were sitting on the sofas, arguing about something. A girl in a short skirt and an unusual hairstyle approached us. Gu Xingyu and Shen Manxing laughed. You've finally come, sisters, the girl said as Manxing handed her the gift. Qian, happy birthday. Gu Xingyu handed her a gift. Despite the recent tension, she forced a smile. Happy birthday, sister. Thank you, dear. She said this with an ambiguous tone. Jiang Qian took the gift and looking at me asked Xingyu something. Xingyu looked at me and said coldly, this is my friend, leaving everything else unsaid. I nodded slightly. Happy birthday, Miss Qian. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to prepare a gift. It's okay. Since you're Yoyu's friend, come in, Jiang Qian invited, moving toward the sofa. The waiter will be here soon. Food will be later, Shen Manxing replied. It's okay, I'm not hungry. Meanwhile, a young man with blonde hair approached me. He casually remarked, oh, how late. We've been waiting for you for so long. Sorry, I got held up on the way, I replied. Shen Manxing sat down next to them, turning to face me. There were appetizers and wine on the table. If you want anything else, call the waiter or me. Don't be shy, she said. I nodded and thanked her for her concern. Although it was a friendly circle, I knew my place perfectly well. The girls, however, were once again glued to each other, whispering. Gu Xingyu clenched her fist. What are they planning to do? They've had enough of talking outside and now they're bored inside, she thought. Let's play, came the suggestion. The blonde boy stood up and several people cast searching glances at Gu Xingyu. Jiang Qian looked at Mu Liu and asked, what shall we play? Mu Liu took a deck of cards from the table. He explained the rules. We're playing poker, and whoever draws the card with the lowest value drinks a cup of wine right at the table. As soon as he said this, everyone started making excuses. We're not going to drink at lunch. Only Jiang Qian looked at all this with a helpless smile. What wine for dinner? I don't want to play, she protested. Come on, it's just a game, the others insisted. Just to kill time, Mu Liu said, turning to Gu Xingyu. Sister Xingyu, you know how to drink, right? Come with us. Jiang Qian walked up to her. Gu Xingyu, in her usual style, tried to protect her privacy. What do you want to do? She asked Mu Liu. Nothing special. Am I really bored playing alone? Come on, just join in. Gu Xingyu was clearly not thrilled. But looking at Shen Manxing, who continued chatting incessantly, as if she were on a date and completely ignoring me, Xingyu chuckled coldly. Okay, I'll play. Jiang Qian looked at her in surprise. Yogu, are you really going to play? She asked. Xingyu's voice was icy. It's okay, it's boring here anyway, might as well play. Jiang Qian glanced at Mu Liu, whose eyes gleamed with anticipation. She clearly understood the implication behind the proposal, but she simply waved it off. Well, forget it. It's already noon, I still have time to have dinner. Gu Xingyu remained adamant. She didn't budge, taking a firm stance. Jiang Qian sighed heavily. Mu Liu merely gave her a meaningful look, as if to say, don't push it too far, it's almost ready. They seemed to notice me watching them. Shen Manxing turned to me too. What's wrong? What are you planning to play, Yoyu? Cards, she replied curtly. The loser drinks the cup, Mu Liu added, and Shen Manxing's eyes gleamed slyly like a fox's. I looked at Mu Liu. Yoyu, are you really going to play this? Yes, she snapped. She was clearly bored. Gu Xingyu stared at the cards, sitting to the side and remaining silent. Shen Manxing also raised her hand, expressing her desire to participate. Then I'll play too, she said. I watched as they sat down at the tea table. Watching them waste their time, I remembered Gu Xianya's advice before we left. I approached Gu Xingyu. Miss Xingyu, Xianya asked you not to drink too much. Oh, I know, she replied. She seemed a little displeased with my intervention. At that moment, Mu Liu looked straight at me. Does this guy want to play too? She asked. I just chuckled and shook my head. No, I'll go later, I refused. Mu Liu smiled and looked down at the cards. She cleared away the excess, leaving 9 cards on the table for random selection. Okay, choose one at a time. Whoever has the lowest card drinks. The girls agreed and drew a card each. Shen Mengxing smiled contentedly as she opened hers. Jiang Kaienqian was a little disappointed that she got the wine, and Gu Xingyu stared greedily at her card. Yu Liu drew one of the remaining ones at random. 13 looks like Zhang Zuji is drinking, she stated. Kaienqian reluctantly took the small cup and slowly drank the wine. Her face turned serious. She shook her head, trying to compose herself. No, I'm not finished yet. I haven't even had breakfast. I can't take it anymore. Mu Liu just quickly brushed off her complaints. The game continued, and Jiang Kaienqian stepped aside to give way to the others. Now we were playing 3. Mu Liu carefully shuffled the cards and laid them out. 2 girls reached for the table. Gu Xingyu didn't even think about it. She simply pulled out a card and frowned. 2. Bad luck. She drew the lowest denomination this time. She didn't care, though. She immediately reached for the bottle, filled her cup, and took a sip. The chair beneath her rocked slightly. Shen Mengxing looked at her worriedly. Drink it more slowly, Yavu. Gu Xingyu merely glanced at her. I barely restrained myself from saying, don't worry about me, continue discussing matters with Chen Bo. But I remained silent, and Xingyu merely snapped, it doesn't matter, go ahead. Mu Liu laughed, today is so cool. Sister Xingyu, you're on fire. Shut up and shuffle the cards, she snapped. Mu Liu, still laughing, placed the next card on the table. Please. Gu Xingyu was the first to make a move in the new round. In 5 minutes, Shen Mengxing managed to drink 5 cups without even wincing. And Gu Xingyu had already drunk 6, and even some red wine. Xingyu drank 2 more cups. It seemed she was deliberately provoking everyone around her by demonstrating how much she could drink. Shut up, go on, I don't believe it, Gu Xingyu snapped. Her behavior was becoming strange. Mengxing and Kaienqian tried to persuade her to stop, but she ignored them. I sensed the situation was getting tense. The alcohol content was high, and if this continued, she'd be completely wasted. I decided to remind her of my advice before leaving. Miss Xingyu, don't gamble, you're already drunk. Gu Xingyu abruptly threw her palm away. It doesn't matter. After her sharp remark, everyone fell silent. Someone in the room asked, hey man, who are you? Don't bother me if you're not playing. I wanted to reply that I was a friend, but Gu Xingyu suddenly blurted out, he's just my servant, don't pay any attention to him. Shut up! The room fell silent, all eyes turned to me. I felt a twinge of nervousness but quickly pulled myself together, politely apologized, and quietly retreated. Go ahead, forget about him, don't worry, Mu Liu said. The winner's gaze turned to me, and I simply replied, no problem. I watched the game from the sidelines. Outwardly, I was calm, but inside, everything was seething. I thought Gu Xingyu considered me a friend, but I didn't expect such an outburst of aggression due to alcohol. Shen Mengxing came up to me and whispered, it's okay, Yavu is just nervous about the wine, don't take it to heart. Everything is fine, I answered briefly. I looked at her without hesitation. Mengxing looked worried, looking at Xingyu. What's wrong with her? She usually acts different, like she's trying to drown in this wine. I didn't reply. I simply watched Gu Xingyu lose more and more, drinking cup after cup. I felt uneasy. Should I bother offering advice again? After all, I didn't want to show my temper any further. It was the 15th cup's turn. Gu Xingyu's face was flushed, her eyes clouded over. She held the cup, barely maintaining her balance, and it seemed as if the slightest breath of wind would knock it to the floor. But Mu Liu, who hadn't drunk much, looked quite fresh and clear. I sighed. I knew we were unlikely to return home in a normal state today, and I would probably be scolded again. Luckily, I didn't care. I walked up to her and took the cup from her hands. Xingyu's head fell on my shoulder. She muttered, "What are you doing? Don't drink any more, mistress. You'll get into trouble." "What does it matter to you? Go away," she snapped. Gu Xingyu, even drunk, tried to push me away with both hands. She could barely stand, staggering, and almost collapsed on the floor. "No, you're drunk," I said. Jiang Kaienqian also came over and whispered to me. "I don't know exactly what's going on, but please take her home. She's not herself today." I nodded in agreement. "Okay, I'll take care of it," I replied and headed for the exit. Leaving the restaurant behind, I took Gu Xingyu's arm and walked out onto the street with Mengxing. She tried to resist, yanking herself out of my arms, but her strength wasn't enough to hold me back. "Don't laugh at me, I can drink, go away," she snapped. "Sorry, Miss Mengxing, I have to go," I replied. "I'll take her home," I said, but all she heard in response was, "Don't you dare touch me, get out of here, you're just a servant, stay out of my way." I frowned, feeling the sting of her words, and was about to leave. But Mu Liu blocked my path. "Brother, I've been thinking. Leave her to me, I'll take her home myself, he said with an unpleasant smile. I looked at him. He wasn't going to back down, insisting that Gu Xingyu's sister had asked him to look after her no matter what. Mu Liu leaned towards my ear and whispered, "Don't be so ignorant. Give her to me, I promise she'll be fine. I'll give you money and you'll quit this job as a servant. Understood?" "Sorry, I'll refuse," I replied. He didn't expect such resistance. A threat appeared in his eyes. "I'm giving you one last chance. Don't make your life more difficult. You don't want to carry it any further, do you?" I was exhausted by this struggle, but I stood my ground. "I'm sorry, Mr. Mu Liu, but I can't let her go." His face darkened, his gaze growing fierce. "You're so stubborn. Didn't she ask you to get out? Are you hearing poorly?" Shen Manxing visibly sighed with relief, seeing that I wasn't giving up. But I was unlucky. Mu Liu suddenly stepped forward and punched me hard in the face. I didn't have time to react and fell. As I fell, I hit the wall, momentarily disorienting myself. "Mu Liu, you're overdoing it," I cried. Shen Manxing cursed as she ran up to me. "Are you okay? Your mouth is broken and bleeding." I stood up, feeling I could handle it. "I can handle it, you two go first," I said, ignoring Mu Liu and dragging Gu Xingyu to the car. "Don't forget to treat the wound," Manxing called after her. Behind me, a quarrel broke out between Manxing and Mu Liu, but I was no longer interested. I put Gu Xingyu in the back seat. "Buckle up," I commanded, wiping the blood from my lip. It hurt and my lip was swollen. Knowing Mu Liu wouldn't let go, I got behind the wheel and got ready to go. Gu Xingyu continued to mutter in the car, "Don't worry about me, find someone else, don't stay with me." Finally, we arrived at the villa. "Don't worry, I'll be leaving soon," I replied, helping her out. Gu Xianya was sitting in the living room, staring at the screen, but when she heard us, she immediately came over. She saw that I had brought Gu Xingyu and froze. Xianya frowned as she smelled the pungent smell of alcohol. "How much did she drink?" "Half a bottle," I admitted honestly. "Didn't I tell you to make sure she drinks less?" Xianya took Xingyu from me. "Forget it, I can handle her myself. Go upstairs, your sister is looking for you." I was about to leave, but Xianya called out to me again. She looked closely at my split lip. "First, treat the wound and change your clothes, you smell of alcohol, then you can tell me what happened." "I understand." After putting Xingyu to bed, Xianya left and I went upstairs, changed my clothes, and walked to the door of Gu Ran's room. The door was ajar. I knocked, waited for an answer, entered, and closed the door behind me. Gu Ran was sitting at the table. She was immersed in her laptop, clearly bored. She hadn't had anything to do all day, and she was annoyed that I'd gone to a party and her sister had returned drunk. "Miss Gu Ran, what happened?" I asked. "You just arrived now," she responded lazily. She turned around, noticing my wound. "What's wrong with your mouth?" I briefly explained the situation. "Why didn't you come back earlier?" she asked. "I didn't want to cause problems," I answered bluntly. I understood that she hardly cared about my difficulties, but I had to answer honestly. Gu Ran was clearly displeased. "What does this tomboy mean? Do you like her? We'll sort this out when she sobers up. For now, forget about them for a couple of days and stay here with me." I nodded. "Okay, miss." She pushed the laptop towards me. "Look at the picture. Try doing this today. I think you'll like it." My throat went dry. There was an image of two people on the screen, but suddenly an error occurred. Gu Ran frowned. "What happened?" "Nothing, everything's fine." She moved to the bed. She patted the spot next to her and a strange light flickered in her gaze. "Come here." I had no choice, so I went over. "I know I haven't eaten much in the last hour," she said. "Go buy me something to eat. I want a hamburger, fried chicken, grilled meat," she commanded, and I left the room. With a disgruntled expression, I trudged downstairs. My head was spinning, I was exhausted, but I had to go and satisfy this lady's whims. However, I had no choice. I went for food. When I returned, I knocked and entered. Gu Ran was pleased, although her head still hurt a little. "That's enough, you can go now, wait until you're called, and close the door," she said. Sighing, I closed the door, hoping that I could finally get some rest. A cold voice called out to me, "Chen Bo, where are you going?" I got a little nervous, turned around and started explaining that I just wanted to rest for a bit. Gu Xianya looked at me with slight bewilderment. "Rest? And where are you planning to rest?" I gritted my teeth, but under her intense gaze, I quickly regained my usual composure. "Ms. Gu Xianya, is something wrong?" I asked politely. "I'll just go into your room for a minute," she sighed, stepped back and walked inside. "Tell me what happened there this afternoon." I saw her off, remembering how in the morning I had described to her in detail all my affairs. She seemed to be beginning to understand something. Xianya looked at me curiously. I wonder why you didn't come back right away. I didn't want to cause any trouble, I replied, but I had to elaborate on her next question. She sighed. I don't know whether to call you shy or just overly attached to them. She decided to help me treat the wound on my lip. Try to be careful, I whispered. Thank you, miss. You're welcome. After all, this man Mu Liu isn't behaving very well. He deserves a lesson. She watched me closely, then added, you wanted to rest, right? I nodded hesitantly. If possible, I'll take a half-hour break and then get back to work. I rarely asked for breaks, but today I was exhausted. The punch in the face, the constant tension, and the old employer waiting. I was afraid I'd simply pass out from exhaustion. However, Xiangyi's expression changed. She seemed reluctant to give me a break. But I miss you, Chen Bo, and you didn't say anything yesterday that angered me. Do you want to get this over with? Sorry, I didn't mean to anger you, Gu Xianya. Calm down. I tried to smooth things over. Stop whining. I put off all my chores for you. Is it so hard to just keep me company? She said indignantly. I just sighed to myself. Okay, miss, whatever you say. Xianya nodded happily. Then get up, go to the table, help me with my hair and makeup. We'll go out and have some fun. I haven't bought new clothes for a month. Help me choose. I trust your taste. I silently took the comb and began to carefully comb her hair, trying to hide my fatigue. Night fell and Xianya returned to the room in a great mood. By the time I finished, it was already 10 o'clock in the evening. I collapsed onto my bed, exhausted, without even taking a shower. Finally, I can sleep, I thought. 5 days left until this nightmare ends. Time dragged on unbearably slowly. I fell asleep instantly, knowing I'd have to deal with those 3 girls again in the morning. A new day dawned through the window. Tired, I stood up, checked the time, and left the room. 5 days had passed, and today I was mentally prepared to finish. Where are we going tomorrow? To the beach, Xianya decided. We hadn't been anywhere in ages, so we decided to head to our private island resort for a little break. Xianya noticed my dull gaze. I said we're going to the beach tomorrow. Didn't you hear me correctly? I just nodded wearily. Okay, miss, I replied, feeling my strength leaving me. She sighed. Okay, go rest. Xiaomai's still mad at you, but you'll figure it out yourself. After that incident 5 days ago, Gu Xingyu really did ignore me without leaving the room. I nodded, agreeing that this was abnormal. Okay, that's it, go. Don't be so sad tomorrow, or you won't even be able to carry your luggage, she called after me. I reached my room. It was 8 o'clock in the evening, but after these exhausting days, I had no energy for anything but sleep. My contract expires tomorrow. This thought became the only thing that kept me going. I looked out the window at the setting sun, trying to force a smile. Lying in bed, I realized, after midnight I'm free, no more contracts. I slowly got up, took a hot bath, dried my hair, and felt my energy returning. I picked up the phone and dialed He Qing, the mother of the 3 sisters, the same woman I'd signed the contract with. I heard a dial tone. Who is it? A cold voice rang out. I exhaled. It's Chen Bo. There was silence on the other end. Ah, is it you, the one who was looking after my daughters? What happened? My contract with the Gu family expires today. I fulfilled my duty. I want to return home, I said firmly. 3 years had already passed. He Qing barely hesitated. See you tomorrow morning. I'll send you the location. The call ended. I put my phone aside, gathered my few things, and lay down, feeling the long-awaited peace. Meanwhile, on the second floor in his room, Gu Xingyu sat on the bed, clutching her phone. She was confused as she reread Shen Mengxing's messages. She realized she'd been wrong about me all along. She ignored me for 5 days, angry that I'd allegedly taken her by force while drunk, but Mengxing had just told her the truth. It turns out that when I was drunk, Mu Liu wanted to kill me and I wanted to kill him. That I protected her, brought her home, and Mu Liu hit me, splitting my lip. She realized I didn't deserve her coldness. She sighed, throwing the phone away. Tomorrow I'll go to the movies with him, take a walk, let him relax. In any case, he shouldn't be mad at me, she thought, unaware that tomorrow I'd already be far away.